What do you think will happen when a group of bored, refracted railway tryhards try to have fun in Mirror Dungeon? Well, this is what happened. Yep, you saw it right. Fell bullet quote-unquote solo. This might be the most deranged strat I have ever seen and helped on. Made by Kozer, and the RR Threat gang made it so you can spam this strat, since it is now starlight neutral. There are two strats that we created, the fast strat and the slow strat. The main difference is how the first node is fought. The slow strat uses the first node to farm as much red as possible, whilst the fast strat is using minimum number of IDs, effort, and time, hence called the fast strat, to make the machines running. The fast strat requires you to have at least these following requirements: a level 55 Fell Bullet Isang with Fell Bullet E.G.O, a very low level Sinclair. I think the best one for this is Blade Lineage, then Base Sinclair, since they are both Bright and Pierce Fatal and have Bright or Red defense skill. Then, one unit with Red defense if possible. Prioritize defense over evade over counter, since counter can mess the strat up. And one permanent sack, preferably Pierce Fatal and low HP. At most 71 HP is possible. Then, one rotational sack that just need to have low HP for backup times 6 if you want to run this permanently, preferably around 93 HP or less. Rest of them are full rest bonus leveled unit for mid shields later on. If you don't have a lot of under leveled ID, you can skip the rotational sack and put permanent one instead, but you will be running at a slight starlight deficit in the long run. Here are one example of the team without the leveled units. Keep in mind that the unit with red defense and the permanent sack can be the same unit, but I don't have it, so I'm using Liu Ryoshu for the red defense and R-Corp Honglu for the permanent sack. Since the last one is pretty lax, I'm using Rosepanda Gregor, but as long as it's under 93 HP, you should be fine. The alternatives for Liu Ryoshu are Shidon and LCE Faust, but they perform slightly worse because it's an evade instead of shield. If you don't have BL or Base Sinclair at a very low level, specifically under level 15 for BL Sinclair and level 32 for Base Sinclair, you might want to bring another unit that have Red or Bright skill 1 or defense skill, or whatever it is that can spew out Red or Bright consistently, because you need to spew out 2 Red and 1 Bright on the first turn at the first node. For the slow strat, you more or less need the same thing, which is a level 55 Fell Bullet Isang with his E.G.O, 2 or 3 units that have low HP, preferably under 93 HP, and around 3 or 4 red hitters. Keep in mind that the red hitters need to be swapped off every Mirror Dungeon run, so scatter them nicely if you can. Moving on to the Grace buffs. We need to use them sparingly here, because of the real Starlight Eater will be the E.G.O Gift Search function. As such, we'll choose the first, Start of the Beginning, and the third, Interstellar Travel. These two are the best buff we can get to maximize our team pack search because of how limited our team pack selection are for this strat. Make sure to not convert Starlight to cost or you will run at a very high Starlight deficit. As for the starting E.G.O gifts, there's not much choice there. So we will take Stone Tomb to give more poise and more damage when corroding Fell Bullet. As for the E.G.O gifts you want to get, here are some of the gifts that are must-have in my opinion. First, you must choose Sharp Needle and Threads and Grand Welcome with your Starlight. Else, your run wouldn't work at all. It's the bread and butter of the run. But be careful with Sharp Needle with counters, as counter might hit the enemy first and make the Sharp Needles mirror the counter damage instead of Fell Bullet's damage. Then, you would want to get Nebulizer to give more poise, which convert into damage on turn 1. While I think it's not mandatory, it sure does help having more poise turn 1. Then, clear mirror calm water for obvious reason. You also need 2 of the stones, the poise one and the bleed one, cause they raise your damage, making your Yisang deals insane damage. Then for the luxury E.G.O gifts, Devil Share Plus Plus is a very nice E.G.O gift to have to guarantee your Yisang to move first after the first round, making your run considerably faster. Similar with most mirror dungeon speedruns, you want to avoid as much battle as possible, cause battles are a waste of time and time is money. Now, it's time for the fun part, the actual run. What you want for the first packs is to pick flat broke gamblers, as it's the only packs that you can actually do one turn for the whole packs, with the exception of the first note of course. This is why we choose those Starlight Grace buffs, to give us more chance. If you don't get it after 16 packs, either you reset your run or choose it with the pack search function, but you're at floor 1 anyway, might as well reset, you know? As for how this strat works, this is the only difference between the slow and the fast strat. The slow strat use like 4 or 5 units here to try to farm as much rat as possible in this node, at least 10 from what I've heard. While the fast strat, you use 3 units or 4, depending on who your sec is, to get 2 rat and 1 pride on turn 1. Then, you start spamming Foul Bullet, Awakening in the first node, and Corrosion on the other node. Overclock it if necessary, since the corroded version deal more damage, because without it, your stacker might not do their job correctly. Make sure to put only 2 units, with the stack units on the first and Yisang on the second slot, since if he's first, if you manage to not kill the units and corrode on the second turn, you will use 2 corroded Foul Bullet and it's a waste of already precious breath. If you manage to not corrode on the second turn, your Yisang might either use the other skill first or use the clashable counter and will mess up the threads and needles, so putting him last is necessary. For shop, try to get tier 2 or 3 scraps that you can use to fuse later on. Or, if you get Eclipse or the Scarlet mods, get it, since it will guarantee that 1 turn on the boss. If you don't get it, only 2 tails from the corroded Foul Bullet that targets Sinclair can kill all the enemies. That's why you use this floor shop. To revive Sinclair. You don't need to revive Sinclair on other floors though. For floor 2, the top choice is Hell's Chicken due to their even nodes that gives out tier 3s all around, making it one of the easier packs to be your fuse fodder. Just don't go toward the hexagonal elite encounter because that node is 2 waves of enemy and they are the bane of our existence. I think the cope alternative you can get is C or SEA packs, but it's just way worse. Remember to keep using Overclock Foul Bullet to deal more damage. For floor 3, you choose the Walpurgisnacht KOD pack. Why? Because it's the only pack in floor 3 right now that have 0 fights until a boss, while the boss itself is quite tanky, with proper fused E.G.O gifts, which you should have at least the Poised Rocks and a Clear Mirror Calm Water already, is a quite consistent 2-turner, with 2 Overclock Foul Bullet hitting all your allies. From these stages onwards, remember to put Yisang at least on 4th slot with a sec on the first 3. And a full 12-man formation is recommended, so Yisang has enough body to throw around. For floor 4, the best choice is Railway 2 pack, since the pack only has 1 enemy, and same as KOD, is a quite consistent 2-turner with 2 OC Foul Bullet as well. As for floor 5, it has changed quite a bit. Instead of the traditional Mirror Dungeon speedrunner packs, which was Railway 4 packs, there are 2, possibly 3 more packs that you can choose, all with the same reason, only 1 fighting node and that's the boss node. I will be sorting them from the safest to the hardest one, starting with the Christmas Miracle Bokgak. While it is 5 waves long at the very least, it's pretty stable and it's a focused fight, so you can redirect any skills that come before Yisang. Then, it's Railway 3 pack. It has the same 5 turns fight, but it's a human fight instead, And if you don't have Devil Shares++, you might be in quite some trouble, especially if you have any counter units. The other two is Railway Force Section 4, then Section 3, because they need you to have a prerequisite SP, need you to sell the Bleed Rock to be able to beat them consistently. Even so, you still need Devil Share++. With enough knowledge, it's definitely one of the fastest team now. My runs was averaging 18 minutes because I need to test things out, but on the lower end, I reached 14 minutes recently. The world record is currently 8 minutes and 38 seconds, although it's using all of the grace buffs. For more detailed info, check the Mirror Dungeon 6 Team Guide Google Sheets that Seal created. Link is in the description. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask in the comment section or in my Discord server. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!